Well, what's going on, everybody? And what day is it? I don't even know. Thursday, January 19th. We're going to talk for a bit again about Steven Crowder. And I've decided that maybe I should just change my channel to a reactionary channel reacting to conservative political commentators from a conservative perspective. Because what I've realized is it seems that a lot of people are so fixated on just attacking all these things, right? Like all this, big tech overlords, blah, 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 that even when like actual truth is presented in front of you, you're just not able to comprehend it. And that's seemingly what's happening with the Steven Crowder debacle. So let's be honest, and I'll explain some things. For anyone that doesn't know, I started my own online streaming platform, membership-based. I couldn't keep it going because the infrastructure costs far exceeded our level of memberships. And the reason why I say that is to point out that it's not as easy for a little guy to do that, right? So oftentimes what companies do, and this is what happened to me as well, is and it's happened to me twice. It happened when I was just talking about logistics and supply chain stuff, and then it happened when I branched out and went into the political side. With the logistics and supply chain stuff, a company came in, offered me a tremendous amount of money, said, you come over here, you do your show, we'll give you the production resources that you need, everything will help you build a great show. And so I took it. I took the big money, and within a couple of months, I realized that no. It was not what I thought it was going to be, and it was not what they promised. And I was lucky because the people there respected me and what I was trying to do. And so I was able to get out of that agreement and continue on the path of doing what I was doing. Then fast forward to a year and a half ago, I had this very similar offer to go work for one of these big companies, hosting my show over there and doing it that way. And I made the decision that I'm just not going to do it. You know, I like having creative control. Okay. And that's the biggest thing. And that's what Steven Crowder likes, right? He likes creative control. You heard yesterday, Steven Crowder made a video a couple of days ago. For anyone that doesn't know, Steven Crowder is the biggest political commentator, both probably on social media and off of it. You know, even if you check the numbers against terrestrial radio, terrestrial television, anything like that, it's Steven Crowder probably beats out those numbers dramatically, right? He has a huge audience, a faithful audience that listens and rallies behind him when he needs things rallied. You know, I always tell the story of when I was in a gun store in St. Lucie County, Florida. They were listening to Steven Crowder in that gun store as I was buying a gun and using the shooting range and all that stuff, and they listened every single day. You know what I mean? And it's literally everywhere. You just have it everywhere. Everybody knows who the guy is, right? So he's been working for Blaze TV for a long time. Now, Steven Crowder, just like the Jeremy Borning or whatever said, the Daily Wire CEO, just like he said yesterday, Steven Crowder is known to like to run his own production, like to have his own staff, like to just run his own business. That's what he likes to do. And there are a lot of people that do that. With Blaze, and I don't know his contracts with Blaze, but I can only speculate that the very same thing was going on, especially now when you are talking about all these memberships and the Mug Club memberships and all this stuff. And everybody is like, all these people on social media right now are going all over saying, well, he has 300,000 Mug Club members based on his own admission, but you're not paying attention to the fact that he has no way to access them. He has no way to access them because, yeah, they may have had 300,000 members, but when he left Blaze TV, he left those members there. The subscriptions were not through Crowder Inc. or whatever. They were through Blaze TV. From everything I'm able to find out, when you get charged your $67 a year, if you're on the discount, the receipt actually says Blaze TV because they own the list. And that's why he's come out and said, hey, Mug Club and Louder with Crowder are leaving Blaze TV. You need to fill out this form. We have no way to contact you. It's because he doesn't even have that list. And then I got to explain something else that happens. And because we experienced it ourselves. We experienced it ourselves when we tried to, before we shut down our streaming platform, we tried to migrate to a cheaper alternative because we were losing money every month. We had, say, 5,000 members on our original one, right? Those are members that either were on free trials or annual subscriptions or whatever. And then when we migrated them over and then it came time for renewals, guess what happened? It's called churn in the industry. So instead of those 5,000 members renewing their memberships, we got less than a fifth of those members renewing their memberships. That's churn. And what do you think happens if you have to send email blasts out to the members saying, anyone who's ever done marketing, for example, we send emails out with our store, our coffee shop store. We send emails out all the time. We have one of the industry highest, a 9% conversion rate on our emails. 9%. Can you imagine if I was sending emails out and I go to a company and I say, listen, we have 300,000 paying members that pay every year and they're all going to come with us. And they're like, okay, great. And they offer you a big contract and you get that big contract and you send an email out and only 9% of your 300,000 members actually go and subscribe. Right away, it's not the same thing. So he doesn't actually have those members anyway because he doesn't have the contact information, which is why he made the subscriber list. That Jeremy from the quartering had to go and help him, which is another thing. Like if Steven Crowder is as rich as everybody says, why was Jeremy from the quartering helping him, set up a database to collect email addresses in the middle of the night when it crashed? Wouldn't there be some big tech company behind it doing it? And in fact, he wouldn't even have had to, there wouldn't have been this big push. And this is why I said yesterday, I believe that his agreement with the Blaze ended extremely abruptly. Because he didn't have it prepared. He wasn't getting the contact information. And Blaze TV is likely, if they do truly own it, they're not going to do it. And I checked this morning in Pacer to see if he's suing Blaze TV to see, for his customer list or anything. And there's no lawsuits filed. So likely what ended up happening is his contract was up with Blaze TV. He wanted to negotiate for more money. Blaze TV was probably trying to lessen their financial burden because, again, they're under an obligation. They probably didn't have all the protections of the deductions that the Daily Wire was trying to impose in their contract. And so the Blaze TV probably was like, listen, we can't pay you the amount that you're doing. Now, anybody who's ever worked in commercial sales or anything like that, you understand when you're doing background on a company, you can look up and see what their estimated revenue is, right? So when you look up Crowder's company, the estimated revenue for his company is right around the 4 to 6 million, right? The high end, one of them is 6 million. The average is actually $4.7 million in annual revenue for his entire company. Because keep in mind, he has employees, he has everything. From what I'm able to understand, those employees all work for him. They never worked for Blaze, so he had a very similar agreement with Blaze TV where they were paying him a lump sum. He was getting his monetization from that platform, and then he was able to hire all these employees and the production staff and the camera crews and the sound guys and do all that, and he was able to grow his company that way. Now, what ends up happening is when you start pitching it out, and this is another thing that was misleading because I believe in his video, he said, in Steven Crowder's video 2 days ago, he said that he put out the information or once he went public about his Blaze TV agreement ending, he was getting all sorts of offers, right? And he was holding which isn't a contract, by the way. He kept saying it's a contract. It's a term sheet from the Daily Wire. It wasn't a contract. But he's holding up the term sheet and saying, and then he got this one. But then when you listen to the Daily Wire dude yesterday go through his whole 57-minute video talking about every single line of that contract or that term sheet, when he was walking through every single line, he said that term sheet was sent to Steven Crowder's agent long before the agreement actually ended with Blaze because Steven Crowder was doing rightfully so what he should have done and shopped out that business if he didn't want to run his own business. And that's precisely what happened. The amount of money, and this is one thing that I kept saying the whole time. Remember, I was off because I said it was between 20 and 25 million a year is what I projected. I was wrong. It was $50 million. According to the Daily Wire, they offered a 4-year contract to Steven Crowder for $50 million for the 4-year term, which it breaks down to about $12.5 million a year. Keep in mind, his annual revenues, according to all the data sources that we could find, were right around $4.7 million. That's what it would take. Because think about it. If he's got 25 employees, say all 25 employees are making $100,000, each a year, which is a great salary for production and all that stuff. Say he's paying like the comedian guy that's on there an extra, $150 or whatever a year. You're still talking salaries of the 2.5, $500,000, $5 million range, just right around there. That's the total revenue, right? That would make sense. So there's still a big float of $7-8 million left over on top of that. Because again, Daily Wire knew that Steven Crowder was going to want to run his own production, use his own camera equipment, use his own people, his own researchers, his own everything. So they built that into the offer. They said it last night. So nobody can argue about that. If they literally said it last night. Someone said it's an offer. If both sign it, it's an executed contract. Ultimate Glory, you don't know what a term sheet is, right? Because I've received several in the entertainment business, and what it is it's an agreement that comes in, and then you have to counter that agreement. You don't, sure, if you sign it right away, then that's what you're getting. But you counter that agreement. It's a term sheet. It literally says on one of the things that they showed yesterday on the Daily Wire that this is pending any finalization of the contract. It actually said that in the contract that the Daily Wire folks were showing yesterday. So again, people have to understand that this wasn't, they didn't even talk. Based on the Daily Wire's own admission yesterday, they didn't even talk. They tried to reach out to Steven Crowder's agent. He's like, nope, just tell me how much money you're paying. Nope, just tell me how much money you're paying. So they sent this term sheet over as a low estimate because what do you think? Like when you go into a car dealership, do you buy the car for what they're trying to sell it, MSRP, or do you try to negotiate? If you're going in for a job and they're offering you 15, but you know you're worth 16, 17 bucks an hour, are you going to try to negotiate and try to get more money for that job? Chances are you're going to be able to get it, right? If you're going to a yard sale and they say, oh, this old comic book is for sale for 10 bucks, are you going to just say, well, I'll pay you 10. I'm not going to try to negotiate down. These types of things are what they're used in order to negotiate these contracts, these term papers, whatever. That's what they're for, And a lot of people, and it's hard for me not to say contract now because it's been referred to as a contract. Crowder referred to it as contract. All of these social media people that are just spewing, pulling out facts from their butt, they're all saying the same thing, that it's a contract. I've been saying since the very beginning that there was much more to this story than people were told. And it turns out there was. He wasn't being offered $5 million per year or something like that, because why would you do that? Especially with the terms that were in this agreement, you wouldn't accept them, right? They own your like list. They own all your merch sales. They own all your social media, at least for the time that you're on there. It's very perplexing that nobody really paid attention. And I know why, because it didn't make good clickbait, headlines and videos and monetized videos. Just keep in mind, on YouTube, we're not monetized. They won't monetize us either. So, I'm not making a clickbaity video to try to get people to, subscribe or do any of that, because it doesn't even matter. I hate social media. They hate me too. That's why we stayed at the same number of subscribers for the past year and a half. They just won't allow us to get any more subscribers. So, and they won't monetize my video, so I don't even try now. The thing that drives me nuts is I was thinking about it yesterday, and I was thinking about it this morning, and I saw all the commentary online, and then I watched the Daily Wire video, and I immediately started going after the Quartering, right? The Quartering is a YouTuber guy, and I like him. I've talked to him several times. We both follow each other on Twitter. I didn't go after him. I was just like, okay, I wonder if he's now going to say, hey, listen, like there was some information that wasn't here. And mind you, I believe he knew. It's the same thing that I was saying, that there was a lot of information that was provided to Crowder that they didn't show in his initial video. And his initial video was meant to do what it was. I mean, this is my belief. My firm belief is that Steven Crowder does not have access to his Mug Club subscriptions, and that he is frantically trying to get get those subscriptions up. What happens when you say, like, if I made a video right now and I titled it, I quit, I'm no longer streaming, I would break the internet and break the records with more viewers than I typically have. Why? Because it's clickbaity. People want to come in and watch it. If I said Steven Crowder just dropped the bomb, took a crap on Nancy Pelosi's desk, literally we'd have more people in here watching, because they're like, wait, what is this breaking news? My belief is that one of the reasons why Steven Crowder posed, and I believe it was deliberate, posed this video and put it out in the way that he did, with the suspense that he did, even though there was a very important message right at the end. I believe the majority of what was brought out there was meant to be clickbaity. It was meant to be like with the same tenacity that, everything down to the shirt choice, a fight like hell. Remember, that was supposed to be about YouTube. He was going to fight like hell, files intentional sues and all this stuff over the past year, big subscription bases, trying to get everybody to come in and be subscribers because YouTube is demonetized him permanently and there's nothing he could do. What that does is it riles up the base. It gets everybody to be like, yeah, and he needs it at this point, especially if he doesn't have access to his Mug Club list, which we know he doesn't. He even said it. And there's tweets, and everyone can look it up. You can do your own due diligence. He has literal tweets out there that say, you need to sign up for this mug club, the page that the quartering helped set him up with, because he says he doesn't have access. It's the only way for him to contact you because he has no access to any of the email lists or anything. My guess is the breakup with Blaze TV was bad. That's the only thing I could surmise, because he doesn't have access to his customer list, and it could have been his agreements that were in place. But all of the deductions and stuff, are they severe? Yeah. Are they? But here's the thing. That's an entertainment contract, entertainment term sheet. It's an entertainment agreement. It's very standard. It's like, say a football player. Say a football player, signs a 10-year contract for $200 million. And after the first year decides he doesn't want to play anymore. Sam Fallon said, Mug Club has been around for 5 years, way before working for the Blaze. Yeah, but you don't understand. CRTV, who he was working for before, was purchased by the Mug Club. Or it was purchased by the Blaze. So that whole thing, he's been with them for that whole time that Mug Club was launched. That's what I'm saying. And who knows what his contracts previously looked like. His contracts could have said, you are purchasing, with the amount of money you provide, you are purchasing Mug Club. Nobody knows. You know what I know? But someone said, why do you keep comparing your 3 years of jumping all over the place to con people out of money with Crowder, apples to oranges? You got lucky during the riots and were more successful in some and continuing the grift. See, it's what I'm saying with this video. I'm not saying Steven Crowder is doing a grift. I haven't even got to the grift part of the video. The grift part is what everyone else is doing. What everyone else is trying to monetize off of this and attack the Daily Wire for selfish purposes and saying, oh, we're doing it and it's very patriotic if you do it. What I believe is that what all these other big conservative commentators are doing, and there's some people out there that are actually being honest, but some of the bigger ones, some of the talking heads on social media, some of the ones that I respect, are literally not providing all of the news, not providing all of the truth about something in order to steer you, the viewer, into a whole different direction. And that's the problem that I have, and that's why it's called the Steven Crowder grift, explaining it, because people are literally grifting off Steven Crowder right now. When you are here's the best example, right? So you have Jeremy with the quartering puts out a video last night before the Daily Wire video comes out. And he comes up and he's championing it hard for Steven Crowder, and he's not saying it's a Daily Wire, but speculating that it is, and talking about the contract that's really bad, but he's not talking about the fee. And then he does mention that Tim Pool mentioned the fee on his earlier show, but he then goes back, because once you take a fee into place, once you learn that it was a $50 million contract, then all of the deductions and all of that makes sense. And when you can look through it from the eyes of a business owner, then it truly does make sense. But it seems that nobody wants to do that, and they just want to say, oh, they're following along with big tech and, oh, censorship, woe is me, bullshit that conservatives seem to flock to now. Which is why, conservatives that's why the largest social media commentator doesn't have a home to go to right now. He doesn't even need a home. He could do it himself if he really wanted to. But the problem I have with everybody else is going out here and making videos and monetizing their platforms and doing all this and trying to stir up this hatred for other groups instead of saying, hey, listen, here's the true evidence. Here's the truth of what's going on. Use your own mind. Do you know what I mean? Use your own perspective on it. And that's frustrating to me. It's frustrating. Tim said, you started watching Steve when he was just a pre-trip truckie, as I was thinking of starting a trucking business. Yeah, a lot of people are. A lot of people have been watching for a long time. And every now and then you get someone in here that just comes in and says, oh, you're just talking about this and this and this. This video is because I have frustration, because I see people that I look up to, like literally look up to, right? I see people I look up to that are deliberately not providing the whole context to a scenario in an effort to turn people against each other. When in this country, what we need is we need to work together in some aspect. You know what I mean? And I feel bad. I feel bad for Steven Crowder, but at the same time, I don't. He got paid. He got offered $12.5 million per year. A production budget was built into that $12.5 million. So even if you say 50% of that was a production budget, and tell me that he couldn't do the same show that he's doing now on $6 million a year, you're out of your damn mind. And still net $6 million in profit and become a multi-millionaire and have a contract. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And sure, he could have renegotiated some stuff. He could have said, well, I'm already demonetized on YouTube, so that doesn't make any sense. Well, that's out of there. Like, and Daily Wire said that yesterday as well. And I said that yesterday in my earlier video. It's the thing that ticks me off the most about this is how people know what is transpiring and what is going on, and then they just don't say anything. A good example is this conservative congressman from New York State, right? George Santos. That guy is the biggest fraud out there right now, and you have conservatives that are not coming out and speaking against him. Not at all. The guy allegedly ripped off veterans, and killed their dogs, essentially. He lied about his income. He lied about where he got his money. He lied about his background. He said his mom died in September 11th. She wasn't even in the country. He lied about his time in Brazil. He lied about being a cross-dresser, apparently, in Brazil. He's lied about being gay. He's lied about being heterosexual. He's literally lied about his entire life. And you still have politicians that are like, well, he hasn't been found guilty, so he's still welcome here. And we're going to give him committee assignments on the Small Business Administration. And that's like a bigger catalyst to this position that we go on right now. Someone said since Steve could have counter offered, then the crappiness of the contract doesn't count. Sure, no. What was crappy about the contract? So let's talk about this contract, because everyone says, $100,000 deduction per episode is crappy. That doesn't make any sense. No, it absolutely does make sense. And let me explain why. Because they are paying him in advance to produce a certain amount of content. If he does not produce said amount of content, and he doesn't have a reason for not doing it, like a sickness or illness, then they are fining him $100,000. That's it. And if he is sick or illness, he's not getting paid for the content that he didn't do, because he has enough time to stack up on shows. You know how they do shows in Hollywood when they record a sitcom or something? They do 4 or 5 different episodes in one day of shooting. One day of shooting. Or they'll go in for 2 weeks and they'll do 5 or 6 episodes, and then they'll take 4 or 5 weeks off, and then they'll do 7 or 8 episodes. And the reason they do it is so they can get time off and they can do all that same stuff. That's very, very basic stuff. So for anyone to be like, whoa, they're going to fine him $100,000. He was getting $12.5 million a year, which is roughly $65,000 per daily episode. Are you telling me his hour and a half long show takes $65,000 to do? No, it doesn't. And yes, there is a penalty on top of that, because they want to make sure that he is doing the shows that they're paying for him. I don't think that's far-fetched, and I don't think it's wrong. And just like they said yesterday in the Daily Wire thing, he could go and renegotiate that down. He could say, well, you just do cost, the pro rata, amount, which is what they would do if he had an excused medical illness, just like any other employer. He wasn't petitioning to have Daily Wire license his videos. That's not what he was doing. And that's not what the offer was. And I said that from the very beginning, because he wasn't just saying, hey, you distribute my video, we'll do a half an hour show every day on your network, and that's it. No, that's not what he was doing. And that's not what the offer was. The offer was for them to control his business, which is the same offer he apparently knew, or that he had with Blaze. And you can't say that you didn't know that the folks at the Daily Wire didn't know exactly what was in his contract with the Blaze. They all talked to each other. They all knew exactly what it was. Someone said, you're out of your mind if you don't think his show is worth more than $6 million per year. His show doesn't cost more than $6 million per year to produce, which is exactly what I said. And I can say that with 100% certainty. His show does not cost more than $6 million per year to produce. Absolutely not. And anybody who wants to say it does, you've never worked in this industry. You haven't. So I can tell you that with 100% certainty. Hell, they get feature films, good films done for less than $6 million a year. Do you know what I mean? So, and we're not even, $6 million is half of the budget. That means that Steven Crowder walks away with $6 million. We're not even, in all reality, are you telling me 196, you telling me one of his shows cost $65,000 to film live? For $65,000, I could duplicate it. I could buy every single piece of camera equipment and sound audio equipment, his studio, everything, just for one show. Do you know what I mean? Pluckner said, it seems like you are obsessed with Crowder's success. Oh, I am. Absolutely. I am 100% obsessed with his success. Because he worked his ass off. He worked his ass off, and I'm not shitting on Crowder. I sincerely hope he does what he says. As soon as he said he was leaving Blaze TV, I sent him an email, right? Or I tried to, but he didn't get it probably. But I sent him an email, and I'm like, do it yourself. Like, don't go with anybody else. Do it yourself. Build an OTT platform. You could get hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of subscriptions on the day you launch. Even without content, you could say, hey, listen, we need members to sign up right now. We're going to be launching in 6 weeks. And you know he could do it because he's a huge political commentator. I think his show is well, I don't think I don't know what happened with Dave Landau. I don't know if he's still on the show. But I liked having Dave Landau on the show. But yeah, I'm 100%. I'm 100%, think that I'm infatuated with his career. I think his rise to stardom was great. But then here's the thing that Daily Wire said yesterday. He's used to being an employee. He's got the pseudo employee. It's almost like a contractor or an illegal contractor that should be an employee, but isn't. You know what I mean? That's kind of what it is. It's just it's very weird. It's very weird. Someone said we have a lot of trolls in social media and on the YouTube channels, and we probably do, and that's fine. Crowder would be dumb to sell out everything for $65,000 an episode to cover costs and penalties. Again, it doesn't. You guys are missing the point of what the conversation is. It does not cost. He's not made. They offered, based on what I could find out, they offered him more than double, almost 3 times what he currently generates per year. They offered him 3 times that. Okay, Steven Crowder wanted more than that. Apparently, he wanted the numbers that I was estimating that the offer was in the $25 to $30 million range, which Daily Wire can't do. You know what I mean? And they're not going to do a short-term contract when they invest all that time in it. They're not going to do it. Steven Crowder wanted to deal with the production of his staff. I mean, you could break down the salary. What's the average salary if you have, say, $10 million? Say Steven Crowder walks with $2.5 million a year, and say you have 10 million. Say you have 10 million, and you have 25 employees. Divide 10 million by 25, and what's that? What's that total? Do you know what I mean? Because those employees aren't making the same amount. It's kind of crazy. I'm trying to read the chat too because I think it's important to answer questions, especially when I'm critiquing other people who are not doing so or are spreading misinformation. So it's hard though. Someone said you ain't Joe Rogan. Yeah, no shit, I'm not Joe Rogan. He's also very rich as well, and I'm not him at all. Someone said everyone's still missing the point. Put out. It's not about money. It's about getting social media clause, knowing right wing gets stroked. Yeah, see, and I get that, but again, you got to look at through the lens of a business. What do you expect the business to do? Pay $12.5 million a year to a company or to an outside person that they can't generate any revenue off of? They're not going to get $12.5 million in subscription sales. It's simply just not going to happen. I can tell you that with 100% certainty, it's not going to happen. Not to start off with. So what are they going to do? Wait 3 or 4 years to finally potentially break even and just to make that $12.5 million per year? No, they have to subsidize that with advertising. They have to subsidize that with putting it out on social media and advertising and not have it be a banned person on social media. They have to monetize those videos on social media in order to make their money back. It's a business. It's not a charity or a nonprofit. So to have a social media clause where it's like, hey, if your videos aren't suitable to be on social media when we need them to be on social media, then there will be a reduction in the fee because we can't monetize the platform. We can't monetize the content on those platforms. That is not, is that encouraging censorship? You can make that argument, but it's a business that has to be successful however they do it on social media. That's what it is. That's what it is. Someone said, I like both, but would subscribe to Mug Club before Daily Wire. Yeah, and I think you'll have a choice. But I don't necessarily think it's I don't think that the Daily Wire's goal was to say that, oh, you're going to be censored on social media. Their goal was to say, listen, if you're not making us money, there's no point in us doing this. And putting a penalty clause in there and said, listen, if you're getting boycotted or something like that, and the boycotted thing was, I mean, in all of those, Steven Crowder could have negotiated. He could have been like, listen, I'm demonetized anyway. And there's literally pages dedicated to boycotting any advertisers who work with us. And so he could have negotiated those things off. Instead, he didn't, and he publicized it out to the world in order to try to shun the big con, the big conservatives and all that stuff, when I don't think it was a big con. I think really what it was is a company was making a excellent offer to Crowder, and Crowder didn't like it. And he simply didn't. I mean, think about it. $50 million for a 4-year contract to do a political talk show on social media. That is unheard of. That is unheard of. And it probably pissed everybody off that's sitting at the Daily Wire now. But, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Someone said, the issue is that both Crowder and Shapiro have developed cult-like fan bases. Nobody can look at anything objectively anymore, not even many conservatives. No, that's a big problem. That's a big problem that I think a lot of people have, is that nobody can look at anything objectively anymore. Everyone has to look through the eyes of this person's an enemy or not. And that's a big problem. And then you got a lot of people that are truly, they're making videos every day to be monetized, to conform to the social media standards. That's why we're not monetized on YouTube, because we don't conform to those standards. They won't monetize our videos because if I want to talk about COVID, I'll talk about COVID. And I'll be honest about it. I'm not going to censor it out and not say certain words, well, except election fraud. Those words typically in the context of talking about elections, you can't say those two words together because they won't demonetize you. They'll just ban you. But a lot of people right now are putting out all this hyperbole, right? And people I respect, which pisses me off. Like one person that I respect, as a, I don't know if I respect him on a personal level, but someone I respect as someone that's had trials and tribulations in his online, influencer career, goes out and says, the Daily Wire CEO goes on bizarre rant for 57 minutes. That wasn't a bizarre rant. And that just tells you, one, you're not watching it, or two, you did watch it and you're still lying. And you're lying to other people to try to push your own agenda over everybody else. You know what I mean? And that's a frustration that I have. That's a frustration that I have with what's going on now. And that's the grift of this whole thing, is because so many people are, and to be honest, I listen to a bunch of different political commentators talk about this. You got some that are going after Crowder and being like, he's not being honest. The same way I was, but they're way bigger. And they're saying he wasn't being honest from the very get-go. He wasn't being honest about how much they offered him. He wasn't being honest about the entirety of the term agreement. He wasn't being honest about his ownership of this mug club, anything like that. He wasn't being honest about it. And that's why all of this, mess has started, on the forefront. Everyone is championing what he says at the end, that he wants to create a platform where people don't have to get these big contracts and sell away all their rights to everything they worked hard for. I get that aspect of it. I get that nobody would want to do that. But also you can't have the best of both worlds. You can't say you have to pay me exactly what I want for my brand, but you don't have any say in what I do. You know what I mean? You don't have any say on whether you make that money back, essentially, is what it comes down to. And it's very weird. It's very weird. Someone said, so you sign the contract, then YouTube demonetizes you, and then you're in the contract punishes you too. Yes, that's exactly it. That's like an NFL contract. It's the easiest way I can give you an analogy. Or let's say baseball. A guy signs a $100 million 6-year agreement with baseball, right? And then he goes out and he tears his back out or whatever, and then he's done, right? Or you say he's driving a car and he gets in a car accident and he can no longer play baseball. He doesn't get the rest of his money because the job isn't done. Or say what happens if they sign a 6-year contract. Oh, I don't know how that would work. Well, no, they have productivity bases in their contracts with baseball. So say he does that and then he just hits a cold spell. And for 3 years, he strikes out every single time he goes to bat, and every time he tries to catch the ball, he drops it. There would be some out for them in the contract because they're not making their money off of him. You know what I mean? And that's the same thing with this Daily Wire term agreement, not a contract, is that they needed to make sure that they were making money back. They're a business. It's not a nonprofit. It's not a charity. They need to make sure they're making the money back. Crowder is washed up. I don't think Crowder's washed up at all. I think he's going to bounce back and he's probably going to be huge, and that's my belief. I think he's going to have one of the largest streaming platforms, ever. That's my belief. If he could figure it out and get a good team behind him, I don't know if he will get, a big team behind him. Someone said, "How do you guarantee revenue?" No, but you fire people that aren't generating that revenue. I saw this Tim Pool video before, and this is why I was like, maybe I should just make my video arguing with social media commentators, because their takes on shit are absurd, right? They truly are. Like, Tim Pool makes this whole statement. He says, the only reason people watch Timcast is for me. Nobody else. It's just me. It's just me. And I'm like, that's so fucking wrong. It's so wrong. That's like saying the only reason people watch this and read our articles is because of me. It's not because of April doing the writing or all the other people that are working behind the back ends to do these shows every day. It's stupid. Because it's not, granted, I get to make the decisions, but it's not just me. The coffee company isn't just me. I wouldn't be able to do it if there weren't the other people that were involved in it. All of these things. And so, like, Tim Pool is like, I understand, that, it's a struggle, and, I have all these employees and I don't need them. I can do all this myself and generate the same amount and blah, blah, blah. And I understand the context of what he was trying to say, but he's saying it in front of his staff. And I'm like, what the fuck, bro? It's so weird. It's so weird. It's very, someone said, those are the terms the lefties want. Those are the terms that everybody in business that is the business would want. It's not a term a leftist would want. And here's the thing is, when people put out stuff like that, they put out term agreements like that and then represent that that's what everyone is getting, and that it has nothing to do with being standard or industry standard. And someone's like, well, we need to break the standard. Okay, how do you break the standard? Are you telling me that Steven Crowder would start a company where he would come out and say, listen, we will host your show, we will do all this, we will give you a big contract, and you don't need to worry about trying to make us money? How will they make money? Tell me how that business would succeed. That's not how it would. The business would not succeed. The business would not succeed. Someone said Crowder had 300 people watching on Rumble. Yeah, but that's right. I have probably 600 people watching across all social media right now. If I put all of those people and said, go sign up for go buy a bag of coffee on puretruthcoffee.com, you think all 600 people are going to go over there and buy a bag of coffee? No, probably one person will. If even that. We do giveaways. That's why we do the American flag giveaways. That's why we do the TV giveaways in an effort to drive people over there. But not everybody has an extra $10 or $20 or $99 a year or whatever the subscription costs are. So for everybody it's weird, man. It's so many people are like, oh, this contract is like for the lefties. Oh, this contract is pro censorship. Oh, this contract is. You have to make sure as a business that you are generating revenue. I've always said, like, if I stop making enough to do this every month, I wouldn't be doing it. I would go get a different job. I'd go do something else. The fact is that I'm fortunate enough that I get to sit and make videos every day. Granted, it's gotten a lot harder because we're not monetized. It's gotten quite a bit more difficult. The only way we can actually survive is when you guys either become members on Locals or go buy coffee on puretruthcoffee.com, the best coffee site in the world. But or hoodies or whatever we have over there. But that's the only way I could do this, and that's why I say, like, oh, we have big months, and my goal, to be completely honest with you, I go through the same struggles everyone else does. What I was trying to do, and what I'm trying to do this big push this month to get the most sales I've ever gotten in the store, is so that for the next 2 months I could sit back and actually produce some content instead of worrying about money, instead of worrying about, am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be able to do that? It's frustrating. It's frustrating. I think, and I'm going to keep doing it, but I just, the thing that pisses me off the most is that when we watch this and we see the divisiveness, or when I see the divisiveness of people on the left arguing with people on the right, or people on the right arguing with other people on the right, simply stating things that they don't. And here's the thing, like, I'll be honest and I'll call out someone, I firmly believe, well, actually I won't call them out, but I firmly believe some of the biggest political commentators that are going after, that are seemingly having Steven Crowder's back right now and going after the Daily Wire, they know exactly what they're doing, and they're not doing it for valid reasons. They're doing it because they're trying to get subscribers. They're doing it because they're trying to pitch their things. They're doing it because they know that saying what I'm saying right now is not going to get people to come in and be like, oh, you know what? That does make sense. No, saying Steven Crowder needs to burn Daily Wire down. He needs to sue him. He needs to kick in their door. He needs to go after Blaze TV. He needs to get it. Like, that is what, engages people more. I've never been about that kind of journalism or that kind of reporting or anything else. But it's caused me to realize something is there's a lot of social media commentators that do exactly that. You know what I mean? That do exactly that. And I was thinking, maybe I should just watch. I watch them all the time anyway. Maybe I should just watch them with a little notepad. So whenever they say something stupid, I'll just quickly make a reaction video to it and call them out. Because why? What is it wrong for me as a conservative to call out other conservatives or fake ass conservatives that are only conservative because they're making a shit ton of money? Like, is that wrong of me? Let me know in the chat if you think that's wrong to call out conservatives that are fake or that are just wrong in their perspectives and they're hurting the conservative. How do you think we got here in the first place? People blindly followed all these people. That's why we didn't, have a red dawn or red wave and all that shit. For anyone that sees me doing that and stuff, I am extremely nauseous still. I've got a gas bubble in my stomach from being sick. And I have not been able to, I've been walking, I've been doing air squats, ginger ale, freaking whatever. I can't get rid of it. And it's like, I'm on a level of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most uncomfortable. I'm a steady 9.5 right now. Like, no joke. I can't, it literally, my whole stomach is like as hard as the desk. And no, I have like one ab. That's what I always say. But right now it's all protruded. I don't know what it is. But it's hurting me. But, and my son is sick at home again. This is a son that was in the hospital last week. He puked yesterday at school, and so he had to stay home. Someone said being conservative is the new cash crop, but I think the crop is dying. Yeah, I think it's moving towards libertarian now. I've noticed that too. A lot of people are making that libertarian thing. Like, I think it's weird. I think it's weird that so many people are just negative, dude. Negative all the time, And I hope they come to their senses. I did see like a tiny walk back, like with the quartering. I saw a tiny walk back where he's like, I know how people can respect the Daily Wire but not respect the contract. But dude, I know that he's worked in businesses. He's worked with contracts. He knew exactly what this was, and he still represented it as something that it was not. And that's the thing that pisses me off, because when you have a channel where you have 1.4 or 1.8, however many subs he has, and you're not providing the full context into the scenario. Even Tim Pool at least said, we don't know what the number is. We don't know what the fee was when he was talking about it the other day. Even Tim Pool said that. He's like, yeah, you could be pissed off about everything, but you have to understand the business needs to make profits for what they're doing, at least their money back. Otherwise, it's not a business. It's a charity. You're not hearing the quartering say any of that. He's just attacking all these other people and doing all that, it sucks, man. It sucks. But it's crazy stuff, man. We just live in a weird time. And I was watching this, all of this, and I told my wife I was going to go live, and then I'm going to go home and lay in fetal position because I don't know how to like, I'll be honest, I was almost in tears when I woke up at 4:00 this morning, because it does hurt. It literally hurts. My stomach hurts, and I could feel it. It feels like I have a six-pack right now, and I don't. I'm a power lifter, not a bodybuilder. Two different things. Someone said the whole issue is A1, not money. Yeah, and I've already expressed, and I've already explained all that. Like, you have to understand, it may not be about money, but to say it's because a tech company is trying to censor you is bullshit. That's not what it is. You are going to that company, that tech company, and saying, hey, listen, pay me for my show. And they say, okay, but your show actually needs to generate the money back. Because otherwise, why would he go and do it why wouldn't he do it himself? Because of the amount of work and the amount of labor and how intensive it is to do that. It's easier to go and do it to somebody else, but you have to assure that company is going to make their money back. It's very, very simple. Someone said being controversial gets you headlines sometimes. It gets people on TV and lie and get paid for it. Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's hopefully it makes sense. And I may do that more. I may, there was Mike What is it? Mike Dice, something Dice. Have you guys ever watched that guy? I don't understand because of the veins, but I was thinking he would be a funny guy to impersonate. But I watched 2 of his videos this morning. He has a really excellent take on this. Granted, I'm not sure if he likes Steven Crowder. Something Dice, I think is what his name was. and Mark Dice. And I don't know who he is or anything. I was looking for videos regarding this Crowder thing, and then I saw his video, and he had a really good video where he walks through this whole thing, and he's like, listen, they're not talking about the fee, everything I've already said. And it's like, fuck, why don't I have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, watching my videos every day? And I know why. It's because I go live. If I recorded this video and didn't go live, it would be monetized, and it would have way more views, because I could clickbait the fuck out of it, I could. Maybe I should make one and no, I won't do that. But yeah, I don't know. Someone said, can we go back to the relaxing Rittenhouse days? Yeah, that wasn't relaxing. He does the best Brian Stelter impersonation. Yeah, I watched that video too. That's the one with the impersonation. I liked it. It was funny. I liked his the editing of the videos. But what other video? But listen, I'm not trying to shit on the quartering. I like him. Your coffee's not as good as mine, but you sell a shit ton more because you have a bigger channel, and that's fine. But I just wish that people would be more honest. And I know it doesn't pay. You know what I mean? I know it's not as fun to be like, hey, Steven Crowder made a lot of good points, but here's where he failed. It failed at getting the points across, like I did when I first talked about it. I'm like, we're missing details, and that's why I'm not good at doing those immediate reaction videos, because I'm someone that likes to dig deep, because I never believe anything on its face. I always have to dig deep into something. And I knew from, my own contracts in my life that there was more to this thing than came out. So someone said, I want to see you do street interviews. I don't know how to do those with, unless I had someone else following me around with a camera. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how to do the street interviews. Plus, what do I say if someone says something wrong to me? What do I do? Because I don't have that button. Like, Steve, don't hit him. I don't have that, capability. So Nevada Maverick said, Quartering said his coffee is the best. Do you agree? No, I don't. And to be honest, I said I'd do a taste challenge. I've challenged him to do that. I ran a promotion where we gave people, his viewers, discounts to my coffee just because I know our coffee's better than his. but also, I mean, he's way bigger. He has this whole drop shipping system set up. And I'll be honest, when we were opening the coffee shops, I contacted him. I'm like, dude, maybe it makes sense to have your coffee because you could do it as long as the price point works. And the price point didn't work because he has these commitments because of the arrangement he has with his suppliers that we just can't do. My arrangement's better. But yeah, I just wish that he would just be a little bit more honest. I like him, and I don't want some internet beef with any of these guys. But we offer 100% money back on our coffee. Does he do that? I don't know, because our coffee is the best. Someone said edit the video down after. Oh, just hold the live stream camera. You don't have to film yourself. Just hold the live stream. Oh, you mean just film them? That's what I used to do sometimes. When I go out with the live view and have the shoulder mount camera. Yeah, I don't know. I got to figure it out. That's what I want to do when I do some of the touring stuff that I want to do this summer. But I was even talking to my wife and kids about it. That's probably definitely going to happen this summer. As long as we can get everything going. As a reminder, too, for anyone that is just tuning in, we have our coffee side, puretruthcoffee.com. We have a special going on right now where you can order a hoodie. Like someone said in the chat, they're super soft, they're super awesome, and they ship pretty quick. But if you put a hoodie in your cart and then you add a mug to your cart, the mug is free. And it's any mug we have, so you could choose any mug. Or if you want the tumblers instead, any tumbler is 50% off. Or if you want to buy a Patriotic as F bundle, those come in a 50 caliber ammo, like a metal ammo can from the U.S. military surplus can. Books, fiery but peaceful coffees in there, stickers, patches, hats, tumblers, all other stuff. Plus, we changed it, so you could pick your t-shirts if you want, or you pick your hoodie that you want to go in that bundle. Like I said before, we're trying to get to I'm just trying to make as much money as I possibly can this month. So that way I can relax for the next 2 months and work on content, work on, trying to get the coffee shop open. I drove all the way to the coffee shop this morning. And then I parked outside of the coffee shop, turned my car back on, and drove all the way home because I was supposed to open it. I was out there at 6 o'clock in the morning, but I literally have whatever's going on with my stomach. And I'm like, I just can't do it. So I went back home, got in fetal position, fell asleep for like an hour and a half until I was like, okay, I'll try to go poop. Nothing. So I just have this bubble and I can walk away and burp and stuff. So it's good. Eric said, you think both are right. The Daily Wire just went about it the wrong way. Being that Crowder is a friend in an alley, they lowballed him and treated him as adversarial. How do you know they lowballed him? How do you know that they lowballed him? Based on my presumption of what I can find about the revenues of Crowder's company, it's $4.7 million a year in annual revenues. How did they lowballing him? By offering him 3 times as much that and a guaranteed contract for 4 years, plus $25 million a year for the final 2 years. How is that a lowball? I don't understand how that's a lowball. And maybe people still think it is, but you can say, oh, well, he has $30 million in Mug Club subscribers. He doesn't own that list. That's why he's on social media trying to get people to become new or give him his email because he doesn't have that list. That's like me saying I have a list of 100 million millionaires, but I don't actually have the list. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't have it. So Denise in Virginia said, got your ammo can today. Yay, sweatshirt on the way. Yes. Someone said you want to know what's in the ammo can again. All right. So the ammo can is a 50 caliber ammo can, right? April, can you put the link for the Patriotic as F bundle in the chat? It's a 50 caliber ammo can. Once you open it up, there's going to be, because I have to put everything in the same way, so I could tell you that this is how it is. If you don't choose your t-shirts, you'll get random t-shirts from our store in Woodstock. So it'll be the t-shirts. There'll be a patch hat, tactical hat on top of the t-shirts. Once you lift that up, there's a packet of stickers, 3 or 4 of our new patches, a tumbler, a bag of our Fiery But Peaceful blend, and then a book all the way at the bottom of the ammo can. If you get the hoodie comes on top of the ammo can and not in the ammo can because I can't squeeze it in there. But yeah, that's what's in the ammo can. And yeah, I love them. I've been selling a lot of them and they're good. So, but what else? Someone else said it's not about the money. Yeah. And Denise in Virginia, you said you got your ammo can today. Yay, sweatshirt on the way. Yes. And what you could do, Denise, is you can order another ammo can today because I have to order all new tumblers and all new books because I'm out of them. So it's going to be a whole new bundle. But yeah, the bundles really, really help. So like if you go and you buy one of the ammo can Patriotic as F bundles, that really helps as well. And you're entered into a chance to win one of Rocky's Woodworking Customs flags. So like I said, we're doing $1. Well, what I say, we're matching everything on Pure Truth Coffee. So you make a purchase on Pure Truth Coffee. For every $1, you get 2 entries. If you want a free entry, just go and become a free member on our locals page down below. And if you're already a free member over there, you don't need to do anything. You're already entered. All of our supporters on locals will get 3 giveaways or 3 entries. And any of these guys get $1 match. So if you do like a $20 Venmo, then you have 20 entries. And we're going to total them all up by the end of next week. And you'll have a choice between either this one, a thin blue line, or a thin red line flag. And free shipping and everything, even though the shipping's expensive as fuck. But yeah. That's Nanner said it's good coffee. I didn't think I'd like it, but you do. Nice. But yeah, please go and do it. Someone said, even if he had a list, there's only a 9% response. No, I'm not saying that Steven Crowder, if he had a list, I'm saying us for our email marketing through the coffee side is when we send out a promotional email, we have a 9%, which is extremely high when it comes to store conversions. We have a 9% conversion rating. So that means we send out an email to customers and 9% of those customers off of that email will go and make a purchase in our store. And that could just be attributed to the incredible stuff we have on the store. But even if not, say he has three, even if he has a massive email list with 300,000 members, if not all those members are going to sign up, you don't know. See, and that's the problem is you don't know what his show is worth because it's not monetized. Like, you can't prove it. Like, for me, if someone said, Steve, I want to buy your social media side, but you need to prove how much it's worth and how much it's going to be worth in a year, I could do that because we have all the analytics, we have all the tracking, we have all the data that proves that we're making that money. Whereas Steven Crowder can't, because the majority of the control over that and the majority of, from what I understand with Mud Club, is not his. He doesn't have access to the data. That's why he has no way to contact any of those subscribers. Those subscribers are with Blaze TV. And so when you look at that data, he doesn't have the monetized. He's not monetized on well, maybe he is on Facebook. He's not monetized on YouTube. So in all reality, when he doesn't have a contract with Blaze that's giving him millions of dollars or however much, or Daily Wire at $12 million a year, he's not making money. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not marketing anything else unless he controls all of that. That's why, like, Steven Crowder should, no matter what, Steven Crowder should have, instead of putting out that video to shitting on Daily Wire, shitting on the contract, he should have put out a video and said, listen, here's the contract. This is why it sucks real quick, blah, blah, blah. Here's what you do. You go up and you sign up for this. You don't, sign up for this membership. I'm going to be doing daily live streams on whatever the case is to get people to go and subscribe. That's what he should have been doing right away. But instead, he's like, go put up your email there so we can contact you. And that's it. You know what I mean? So he's not making money. He's not making money. And it's just not, it's not a good thing, But that's how it works. But my stomach hurts and I'm going to go home. It's been an hour. I will not be live tonight. Again, April is writing now on the rationalamerican.locals.com. Pretty soon the Citizen Stringer Citizen Stringer website is going to forward right to that Locals. You can become a free member, write everything April is writing, and eventually I will too. I'm just busy. And then we'll go. I got to figure out what's going on with stuff. I'm going to buy some Beano gas or whatever, something from the store and see if that helps. Cause I don't know. This is killing me. It's killing me, but I just want to not be sick anymore. But thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see all of you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll probably do a day show, but then tomorrow I'm also doing a night crew show tomorrow night. So that'll start around 9 or 10, which that'll be fun. If you're not around for that, I get a little crazy. I drink caffeine and stuff like that. So we'll see you tomorrow for several different shows. All right. Bye. Where's the ending there?